Welcome to After Dark TV. This is episode number 2, and tonight we've got a special little episode for you, and we're going to be bringing it up. We're going to be talking about Annabelle. We're going to be talking about paranormal activity and paranormal investigations. And two of the main ones that started was back in the paranormal investigations. Correct me if I'm wrong, Jimmy. Was Lorraine and Ed Warren, right?
That's it.
So we're going to get started with them. Jimmy, tell us a little bit about Ed and Lorraine.
Well, anybody that has any interest in the paranormal, when you mention their name, you know who they are. They're just synonymous with the paranormal and investigating. They really got started with the Amityville horror activities. They were initially, they originally took that on, and that's what kind of, kind of cemented them in the paranormal world. But Lorraine, I believe she's 90 years old now.
She is 90 years old.
Yeah, and she's still very active.
Yep.
Still running the museum that they have there at their house.
The occult
for the
Warren
past,
Museum.
I think 40 years. But yeah, anybody in the paranormal world, you mentioned Ed and Lorraine, and everybody knows who they are.
And The Conjuring based off their investigations.
Exactly.
Conjuring 2 based off their investigations. Even The Haunting in Connecticut was loosely based on one of their investigations. So,
right.
Well, let's move on before we get to any of the Annabelle or the Conjuring or anything. Now, Jimmy, I know you've been involved in the paranormal investigations and stuff before.
I have, yeah.
Could you give us a rundown of kind of what you did with that?
Well, it started off. I had a friend who was interested in, had long been interested in paranormal, and she had started a group around here, where we all live. And at first, she actually got me involved, just doing some artwork, coming up with a logo for the group and stuff like that, making some T-shirts. And eventually, I got involved with doing like the tech work. I would run the video cameras and all the tech stuff that had to do with the investigation. That's how I really got started. And then I actually started sitting in on some of the investigations myself as an actual investigator. There's a house in Ellisville. It's called the Decent House, and it's supposedly one of the most haunted houses in the state. We actually went and did an all-night investigation there. Had some pretty interesting evidence that we came up with. So yeah, I do have a little bit of experience with the paranormal. I very much believe in it. But yeah, I did that for I guess about a year and a half. But yeah, I enjoyed it. It was fun.
Yeah. Like I told you back a long time ago, we did a spoof of some paranormal stuff, called the Ghost Hunt Show. But it was if you talk to the woman that did it with me, she was really doing it. Now I was just doing it. I had it set up to be a comedy spoof to do, but she really did get into that stuff and watched it. I'm very interested in it. I would love to go on a real paranormal investigation and see what we could come up with, And what do you think is probably the most incensed, frightening thing you've ever experienced at all?
During my time that I did investigations, I never really had anything happen that really scared me.
Right.
We had just some odd things like, we would get responses from, like, we would ask some, a spirit to make a noise or whatever, and there'd be a knock, somebody that you couldn't explain, stuff like that. I remember one time we had a flashlight at one of our investigations, and we were telling the spirit to turn it off and on, and it's like it was doing it on command. So
Dang.
that was kind of strange. But nothing that ever really scared me. Not that I don't believe that there are, evil forces out there, but I was lucky enough to not come into contact with anything like that, as far as I know. I guess probably the most interesting thing that I've ever had happen, and I haven't really told too many people about this, but my wife passed away in December of last year. And I guess the first couple of weeks after she passed, I did not stay in our house. But after a couple of weeks, I went back, and I believe the second or third night, I was up probably around 4 o'clock in the morning, and I heard a crash in the other room. It was loud. It sounded like somebody had actually just broken our front window and was trying to break in. So I went in there, and I had left the light bulb sitting on top of the box. And the box was dented in on the top. So, there's no way that anything could have rolled off on it. And there was a rug right beside the box on the floor. But when I went in there, I found the flashlight, the light bulb, it was just shattered on the floor about 4 feet away from the box. So there was really no explanation for it. The light bulb couldn't have rolled off the box. It's almost like it was picked up, just thrown on the floor. That's how loud it was. So, I don't know. It's kind of a strange experience, but I like to think that was probably my wife that did that.
Right.
I really can't think of any other explanation for it.
Right, and see, and it would make perfect sense on that end of that way of that happening, because I've had stuff where you can't explain how that happened, so, and it gets into this situation like that. Honestly, in my opinion, I've never experienced a frightening experience of paranormal activities. I've always wanted to see something because very rarely. You can ask my wife. Very rarely anything's going to scare me anyway. So I like to encounter stuff like that. So it would be a fun experience for me, I say.
Yeah.
Now, how long did you do any of these paranormal investigation like things? How long did you do them?
I was involved with the group here for probably about a year, maybe a little bit longer. So not a whole lot of time that I was actually with the group, but I've had a long time interest in it. So,
right.
As far as actively investigating and working with an actual investigation group, it was only for like about a year.
Yeah, see, I've always been interested in that kind of stuff too. I like watching it, listening to it. Just hearing their perspective on it, because I never cancel anything out, because you never know. And
you never know. You're right.
And being narrow-minded, you may never know.
Right.
So you have to be open-minded about stuff and just let it happen.
Right.
And if you see something, you see something. If you don't, you don't. And just because you don't see something doesn't mean that it doesn't exist. So always keep an open mind on stuff like that.
Some people are just more sensitive to it.
Right.
Like, for instance, Lorraine Warren. Some people just have that God-given ability to, to see those things and be more sensitive to them. So, and there's a lot of them out there. I've seen a lot of testimony from a lot of different people that can back it up with evidence. And
right.
It's hard to dismiss all of those cases, that you hear about, especially the ones that have the evidence to back it up. So.
Right. Well, before we get into talking about it, we're going to take a break here. Jimmy here also does graphic designs and stuff. And tell us a little bit more about your business, Jimmy, before we go to the commercial.
Okay. I've been a graphic designer for about the past 20 years or so. 2005, after Hurricane Katrina, I actually started a sign shop, and been doing that ever since. Now I have got an online store, Facebook store, selling decals, cut vinyl designs, to make to put on walls, auto decals, signs, banners, and stuff like that. So been trying to kind of switch over to more of an online presence to reach a bigger audience.
And then we're going to reach a bigger audience. So you're going to help support Jimmy. You're going to help support the show by helping support Jimmy. We're going to show this commercial in just a second, but you can also subscribe to us. That's how you can support the show. You can comment, you can rate our videos, and you can follow us on Facebook. I'll put the link in the description box down there. So make sure that you follow us on Facebook or like us on Facebook. Subscribe to us right here on YouTube, because we're going to be doing videos at least. We're going to try to do at least 2 videos a week, maybe 1. We're not sure just yet. We're working our way into it. But when we come back from this commercial, we're going to be talking about Annabelle and The Conjuring and Conjuring 2. So we'll be right back. We're back right here on After Dark TV, and we got Jimmy on the phone here, and we're going to be talking about Annabelle Creations, which come out last Friday, right? Or this past Friday?
I think so.
Yeah, I think it came out the 11th.
Yeah.
So
I think you're right.
So we're gonna check out the trailer here in just a little bit. But first, Jimmy, what did you think about the first Annabelle?
First Annabelle, although not completely in line with the actual story, I did think it was very entertaining. What they did with it is definitely one of the better paranormal / horror movies. I don't know if I would really consider it a horror movie, but yeah, one of the better paranormal realm movies to come out in a while. I did enjoy it a lot, and I'm looking forward to the prequel that's coming out, or it's already out.
Yes, I'm ready for it. I'm ready to see it too, and probably gonna try to go see it this weekend, maybe. Well, let me ask you this: which out of the first and the second one, which Conjuring did you like the best?
Probably the first one.
Oh, are you serious? You didn't like Bellick? Man, Bellick was awesome. I loved the second one.
Yeah, I liked the first one. Yeah, I believe a lot better. It was nice to see how the Warrens were portrayed in the movies. I thought the actors did a good job.
Yes, they did.
Portraying the environment.
Well, you did hear what the Perian family said about the first Conjuring, right?
No.
They said it was the closest depiction to the movie as you could get. The movie was a closest depiction to the actual story as you could actually get. That's what they said. So, I love the first Conjuring, no doubt. It was a great movie, and I love the Ed and Lorraine Warren situation. Anyway, I mean, I love hearing their stories and their investigations and how they went. I love looking up the old footage too.
Yeah.
But The Conjuring 2, to me, I loved it because of Bellick. they're actually going to make a movie of that character in another film.
Okay.
And the reason I say, I love the first Conjuring. First Conjuring was my favorite. But the reason I like the second one was Bellic. The makeup, the look, the nun look, it was freaky. It really was.
Yeah, it definitely was freaky for sure.
I mean, you know what I used to do right after we watched that movie? That first night me and my wife went to the theater to see it. She loves horror films, but she's scared of her own shadow. We were laying in the bed that night, and it was like 3 or 4 in the morning. The lights was off, nothing was on, and she just rolled over, and she didn't know that I was awake. And she rolled over, and I saw her eyes open, and I said, "Bellic is coming for you." And she freaked out and fell out of the bed, started crying. She thought that damn thing was going to get her. Oh, it was so damn funny.
Oh, Lord.
Yeah, it was real good. So what we're going to do right now is we're going to take a clip of the Annabelle doll, and on the other side of this clip, we're going to show a couple of pictures of the real Annabelle doll. So let's check out this clip. When we come back, we're going to talk Annabelle 2 and show the trailer to Annabelle 2.
This, of course, is Annabelle, the cursed doll. And there was a movie made about it called Annabelle, and she was also featured at the beginning of the Conjuring movie. This doll was given to a nurse in Hartford in 1970. She lived in an apartment with a roommate, and the mother of the nurse gave her this doll for a birthday present because the girl liked dolls. She was about 28 years old. You can even see on the doll, if you looked really close, you could see a little bracelet on her arm. So they would treat it as a little girl. One day they woke up, there was a piece of parchment paper on the floor, and on the parchment paper, written in pencil, it said, "Help me." Nobody owned parchment paper. Nobody knew where that note came from. Now the girl said, "Wait a minute. Someone's probably coming in this apartment." So they set up a little thing where they would put Scotch tape on the door of the apartment. They would place the rug just in a certain location to see if anyone was in that apartment when they weren't home. Well, they weren't. No one was in that apartment. Nothing was moved, except the doll. The doll would move.
Evil erupted as the fiancé of the nurse, Lou, had a dream that he was being choked by Annabelle and awoke to throw the doll all the way across the room, when suddenly
4 slashes appeared on this young man's chest and stomach. 4 on the chest, 3 on the stomach, and you could see actually the blood coming through the shirt.
After being called in for an exorcism of the doll, Ed Warren later confiscated the doll and protected it in his museum. But the evil ensued when a Hartford priest visited the Warrens' home.
So he brings the priest down and starts to explain about Annabelle. As he's explaining about Annabelle, the priest quickly walks over to the doll, almost like Lou, the fiancé, grabs the doll, throws it across this room, and says, he proclaims, "God is more powerful than any devil or demon," just like that. And Ed didn't know what to do. Ed says, "Father, I just got through explaining, do not touch that doll, it's dangerous." On his way back to the rectory in Hartford that evening on Route 84, he never made it to the rectory. He went almost head-on into a tractor trailer with that new car. And miraculously, though, he wasn't killed. But the car was totaled. And he called later and spoke to Lorraine. He said, "You know, the last thing I can recall is looking in the rearview mirror and seeing the image of that doll staring back at me in the mirror. Then I lost control."
But the interactions with Annabelle haven't always ended the same, like in this case of a young man who rode his motorcycle to the museum.
The young man runs up to the glass case and starts banging on the glass like this. And he says, "You know what? This is a bunch of hooey. This isn't real. If that doll can put slashes on anybody, do it to me right now." He challenged the doll. Ed said, "Son, you and your girlfriend, you have to leave. I can't put up with that. You go right now." So the kid is leaving with his girlfriend, a young man, about 20, and he's smirking and laughing about it as they leave. Again, he never made it to his home. 3 hours later, that young man that came on a motorcycle was dead.
Despite all of the very frightening supernatural events, believe it or not, some people still want to get their hands on the doll.
One person sent me an offer for $1 million, and I said, "I'd be totally irresponsible to sell you that doll for $1 million. He writes me back and said, "How about $2 million? I wrote him back, I said, the doll is not for sale at any price. It would be totally reckless and irresponsible to let that doll out into the public realm."
Now that we're back, and we're back here on After Dark TV, I hope you enjoyed that clip just now. Let's check out a photo of the real Annabelle doll. Now, Jimmy, explain to me what everybody that has never really seen the real Annabelle doll, what do you think is their first reaction to seeing the real Annabelle doll compared to the one in the movie?
Well, as Hollywood always does, they have to embellish everything. The doll in the movie looks absolutely nothing like the real Annabelle doll. The Annabelle doll is basically just an old Raggedy Ann doll.
Right.
But I don't really think that would carry over as being very threatening in a movie. So
right.
They altered the looks just a little bit, which I can understand. But yeah, the real Annabelle doll is just an old Raggedy Ann doll.
And you can see the picture in the corner here. Now I'm going to show you another picture here, and this one is of Lorraine with Annabelle, and it's a real good picture as well. So let's just check this out right now. All right, so we got a picture of Lorraine and Ed Warren looking into the case that holds Annabelle, and then we got a picture right beside it of Lorraine holding Annabelle. Now, Annabelle to me is a freaky-looking doll. I know they use a freaky-looking doll in the movie, but to be honest with you, the way this one looks to me, this one's more scary than the one that's in the movies. It just looks like it's got something in it. And then hiding.
Lorraine will tell you that of all of the artifacts that they have in their museum, that Annabelle is by far the most evil. She won't even look at it for any extended period.
Yeah, she won't look at my eyes or anything. So
yeah, they keep it in a glass case with a crucifix on the top of it, and they have priests that come in, routinely to bless the museum, to kind of keep as long as you don't try to challenge any of the spirits in there. I think you're pretty much okay, but
yeah, she does not like you touching anything in there. If you touch anything, you must let her know.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Most definitely.
That's just like in the clip we watched just a few minutes ago. The guy was banging on the glass for Annabelle, and guess what? 3 hours later, he's dead.
Not very smart.
Nope. And I would not tempt it like that. I mean, if you want to play with your life like that, whether you believe in that stuff or not, don't tempt fate because you never know what's going to happen. You may you may believe it right before you die. So you can't do anything with that. I hope that you enjoyed this episode of After Dark. I really do. Me and Jimmy, we're going to try to bring you at least one episode a week, if not two. We had to do this one because we're both into the paranormal activities. We've both been waiting for Annabelle Creations, and we're just ready to see what else is coming. Are they working on a Conjuring 3?
I'm not sure. I would have to check that and see. If they're not, they should be.
Yeah, I was going to say I think they are, but I'm not exactly certain on it when it's coming out or if they have even started on it yet.
Yeah, I think it's definitely a movie franchise that they need to keep going with.
Yeah, and
they're still very popular movies.
Oh yes, very, very popular. Well, I hope you enjoyed the show. Jimmy, how did you enjoy it?
Yeah. Great, man. Enjoyed talking to you. Looking forward to going and seeing Annabelle.
Yes.
Creation in the movie.
Can't wait to see it. But we're just going to show you the Annabelle Creation trailer. I'm Brandon Ray. This is After Dark with Jimmy and Brandon, and I guess we're going to just say goodbye after this, but make sure you subscribe. Make sure you review, write a comment, but give us a 5-star review because we're going to be bringing you 5-star videos. But for Brandon Ray, we're out of here. Check out the Annabelle trailer. I hope you enjoy it.
It was quiet for all these years. After Samuel and I lost our daughter, we prayed to see our girl again. The contact started small, but then she wanted permission to move into the doll. We soon realized it wasn't our daughter. So we locked it away. We thought helping the girls could be our penance.
This is our new orphanage.
Wow, this is as big as a castle.
But we ended up giving it just what it wanted.
You need help?
I can manage.
Sister, you always say that even though we can't see God, we can feel His presence. In this house, I feel a different kind of presence. An evil one is coming after me. Because I'm the weakest.
You help me?
What do you need?
Are you okay?
I'm fine. Janice found this doll.
What doll?
The one in the white dress.
She mustn't go near that door.
She can walk.
Forgive me, sister, for what I'm about to say.
Oh, please, it's not real. It's not real.
This doll, it's hurting Janice. I'm getting rid of it.
Rated